Hey everyone, Jack here, TalkNorwichCity back for another video. Hope you guys are all doing very well indeed. Back today to talk about Emi Buendia. Are we bored of talking about Emi Buendia just yet? Probably. We want to be talking about Emmy scoring goals, creating great chances, the magical nature of Emi Buendia, and we did talk about that a lot during the season, and that's what spurred the frantic transfer speculation at the moment. Now, I uploaded a video a couple of weeks ago talking about whether Emi Buendia will leave or not. I think I came across relatively confident in that video that I thought we could keep Emi Buendia, and that's what I thought at the time. I think the can we keep Emi Buendia-ometer has shifted slightly more towards the fact that he might leave now, although I'm still probably more confident than most that we've got a chance of keeping him. Of course, the latest development in this story is the fact that Arsenal and Aston Villa are still incredibly interested. Now, Arsenal were mentioned in that video a couple of weeks ago. Certain outlets are reporting that there's been formal bids of around £40 million, Sky Sports being one of them. Other publications still reporting that it's simply interest, and how you define interest is slightly loose, but there is, of course, going to be transfer interest in Emi Buendia. He's a man who, had over 30 goal involvements for Norwich City, created, a whole host of good opportunities in the Premier League the last time we were there, and is now an Argentine international and a player who has won the championship on 2 occasions. It's fascinating, as always, seeing how fans react to this kind of news. Emi Buendia is our best player without a doubt. And the fact we've been promoted back into the Premier League fairly soon after we were promoted to the Premier League the last time, and we all know how that ended. There is a real want and a real need for Norwich City to go one step further in the Premier League this time and survive. That's all we want, survival in the Premier League. Once you've got that first season under your belt, then things become slightly easier, finances become slightly more stable, and having Emi Buendia in the squad would, of course, help with that. Now, Norwich fans are emotional about this news, and rightly so. He's our best player, he's a magician, and the chances of surviving in the Premier League are far greater with him in the side. But we have to be looking at this in a slightly rational fashion. And I know it's not a football fan's job to be irrational because it's very much an irrational sport. But let's look at this from Emi Buendia's point of view. He's, early 20s, just been called up for his country, clearly of interest of very big clubs across not only England, but Europe as a whole. And I know there's going to be people saying, Arsenal aren't a big club anymore, Villa aren't a big club. They're bigger than Norwich. And both clubs, maybe not so much Villa, but both clubs will be sniffing around Europe in seasons to come. Norwich, as much as we'd love to go on a Europa League trip, isn't going to happen in the next couple of seasons, barring a miracle. Now, of course, there's been talks of Atletico Madrid and clubs like that, who already have that European pulling power. And to be honest, from my personal point of view, I'd much rather see Emmy go to an Atletico Madrid where there's genuine opportunity of winning a Champions League than a Villa or an Arsenal, mainly because I don't want to see Emmy play against Norwich City, whether that be with Arsenal or Aston Villa. But there is obviously reasons for Emmy to leave. You could argue that he's probably hit kind of a peak at Norwich City. He gave us another season in the Championship and got us back out. I don't think we would have got back into the Premier League without Emi Buendia's influence. I didn't expect to keep him for a season in the Championship. I still look back and think, did that really happen? We had Emi Buendia in the Championship. Yes, it did happen, and it was absolutely majestic. If we managed to keep him for another season, it would be absolutely glorious. But you've got Emi's influence here. You've got the club's influence. That's the second thing here. And there's 2 aspects to this, from my opinion. You've got the club ethos and you've got the financial element of it. Let's start with the club ethos. Norwich City, certainly under Stuart Webber and probably other, chief executives and managers, has been a club, because we have been self-sufficient and self-funded, we have to produce players or buy players cheap and sell them on for profit. And when we are signing players, like we signed Emi Buendia from Getafe 3 seasons ago for £1.5 million, he would have seen the likes of James Maddison and the Murphys and players like this who have come in or come through the academy, succeeded, and then been given the opportunity to go to a bigger club. If you suddenly go to Emmy, nah, you're not leaving, mate, even if he wants to, that sets an impression for potential players who we might be looking at and talking to at the moment. And it certainly sets an impression for younger players at the club. And they might be going, oh, actually, I don't know, if I get in Emmy's position and I succeed at this football club, will they stall my progress as well? So you've got that situation. You've also then got the financial implications of this. Let's say Emi Buendia gets sold for £40 million, which is the rumoured fee at the moment. It might be more, it might be less. You have to also take into consideration that there's a 20% sell-on clause that we'd have to pay for Getafe on the profits made from Emi Buendia. So that's a fairly sizable chunk of cash. If someone does come in for £40 million, that's a hell of a profit, and that's a big chunk of money for a club like Norwich City, who will be looking to secure their financial future. Now, we're in a relatively good position, but if that kind of money comes along, then it's going to be difficult to turn down. It really is. It just is. It just is. And I know Emmy's almost irreplaceable, but these are sums of money that Norwich City, haven't seen before in terms of player sales. So that's that. From a fan-only perspective, I would be devastated to see Emmy leave. It's as simple as that. I think, he's certainly the best player I've seen play for Norwich in my lifetime. And, I've seen the likes of Maddison and some really classy players, Wes. But I think he tops both of them. I really do. And I think, as I said earlier, he's got a genuine opportunity to, he already is a Norwich City legend, but really cement himself in that framework and establish Norwich City as a Premier League team. But with that being said, I was gutted when Maddison left. I was gutted when Wes left. I was gutted when Holty left. I was gutted when Huckabee left. And you always find another player. I think you have to look at this almost like Tottenham are with Harry Kane. Harry Kane is their main man, and he is the man that will guarantee them 30 goals a season. But if someone comes in for £80 million, it's a sum you probably can't turn down, and you can try and reinvest that in different areas of the squad to make it slightly more balanced. Will Emi Buendia go? I don't know. I still think there's a better opportunity of keeping him than a lot of making out. But of course, if a big club comes sniffing with the right fee, we are going to sell. It's as simple as that. And it would be wrong to keep a player at a football club that doesn't necessarily want to be here. Now, I'm not saying Emmy will be pushing through a deal, but you have to look at this from a career development point of view, and also like a wage point of view as well. I'm sure these clubs will be paying far more than we are paying Emmy. So that's my thoughts on Emmy. I'm sure this story will develop. Let me know where you stand with Emmy. Are you worried? Are you disappointed? Are you excited at the potential of this money that we can reinvest with a sporting director that has a proven track record in investment? I don't know. Let me know in the comments section down below. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all again very soon. Bye-bye.